Breaking news, Spencer.
Tim, it's early.
It's real early, but
Why am I here?
I've had my nose to the grindstone for a while, and I know we told our listeners that we were not going to have a podcast this week.
I'm planning on not having a pod this week. I'm here. I'm on vacation.
Yeah.
I haven't even finished a whole cup of my full Schleck yet. Why? Why did you wake me up?
We got some pretty big news. So, probably the biggest news break that we've been able to break, or the biggest news we've been able to break since breaking the Education First Dirty Kansas roster.
Yeah.
So,
which is pretty big.
That's pretty big.
You're telling me this is bigger.
I think it's bigger. I think it's bigger in the lore of the Slow Ride podcast. That it's something that just needs to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, are you ready?
Well, I'm on the edge of my seat. I mean,
you should be on the edge of your seat. Something I want you to just think about. I want you to go back to 2010, before the Slow Ride, but when we were, all still hanging out. Me, you, little guy, kind of. I had just recently moved to Florida. I think you were still up in Minneapolis, before moving to Boston. 2010. What did we talk about the most in the pre-Slow Ride podcast days?
Probably just talking about bike racing, probably trash talking to each other about who is going to win what race and arguing. And
yes, all of that.
I know one of those years we played some very low budget on a spreadsheet, kept track of fantasy cycling thing between the three of us.
Yes, and I
that was bad.
Yeah, and I drafted
God,
Jose
that was a
Ruhano.
pain in the ass.
Yeah, we had a fantasy cycling league that we had on a spreadsheet. That was a pain when you had to score it. Okay.
Oh, it was brutal.
But then,
so I'm not seeing how this all ties together.
But that was 2007. So 2010 came along, and something changed our lives.
Okay.
That something went away after 2 years. We talked about it a little bit for the podcast.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
You're not.
Yeah.
You can't. What do you know? Tell me what you know right now.
Roller derby is coming back.
No.
Yes. And
I can't, but no.
So my friend Luke.
This is.
I guess our friend Luke.
This is way bigger than Dirty Kansas. This is huge.
Yeah, it is. Our friend Luke up in Chicago, a wizard, if you will, one of the smartest guys I know, created roller derby in 2010, and basically it was like a Belgian style betting book, a pari-mutuel betting book. Like I would bet that. I mean, back then I would bet that Danilo De Luca would win pretty much every race, and I could put a certain amount of points on that, and then I would have bragging rights when I was right.
It was most certainly the greatest fantasy cycling game of all time.
Yes.
That is the point.
Almost certainly. So here's the deal. Roller derby is back, and it's coming back for Milan-San Remo is where it's going to start. And so that means that, as an example, one of the first propositions that you're going to be able to put on is one of my favorite in the entire lore of this game. Because for 3 years, I got to bet on this. And every single Milan-San Remo since roller derby went away, the first time it went away, I have texted Luke at the exact moment when the Peloton gets on the Poggio and is climbing, because one of the propositions in this fantasy cycling game, basically I would say fantasy cycling wagering game.
Yeah.
One of the best props is what team is going to be the first over the Poggio.
Yep.
And how awesome
to crest that little lump right at the top where there's the driveway, and you start the crazy descent down into San Remo. All bets are off on that descent. It's insane. It's a full bore race to the top. One of the greatest fantasy cycling propositions of all time. So within the greatest fantasy cycling game of all time. It's you have to be there. So if for no other bet than that one, you have to be there and go all in on what team, AG2R, whoever you think is going to be up there.
So here's how some of it works, right? So here's a very basic run of the mill. It's free to play roller derby, and roller derby is spelled how a cyclist would spell roller. So it's ROULEUR derby. So you sign up to play. Yeah, rollerderby.com. You sign up to play. It's free, and you get a starting kitty of, I want to say, 1,000 points. Right?
Yeah.
So you're going to get 1,000 imaginary roller derby bucks. Then you can go around and sprinkle that 1,000 points in whatever propositions you want that are available.
Yeah.
So for Milan
There'll be ever-changing propositions.
Yeah.
Like there's always new ones.
There's always new ones, and there's the classic ones like that I always stick on is, will there be a livestock or dog related crash at the Tour de France or the Giro? Like in the Grand Tour, will there be a crash caused by,
an animal,
by a farmer's pig running onto the road? Right? Like,
I know you always love those ones. I'm a little more the traditional like horse race style betting are my favorites. Like picking who's going to win is always good, but that's a long shot, right? I really enjoy personally the choosing who will show, like who will hit the top 3 steps of the podium.
Like who's going to be on the podium. And
those are my favorite bets. Like, so I'll pick, back in the day, it would have been probably DeLuca. It would have been Ivan Basso and like George Hincapie to podium,
so
at Amstel Gold or whatever.
But here's the best part of roller derby propositions.
Okay.
Is that you get to pick, you can take the field in a roller derby proposition. So what I mean by that is like, Luke does a great job of collecting all of the information for opening morning bets that you would see on the sidewalk of Belgium, right? But then what he does is that maybe for like example, the Poggio bet, he's only going to have like 10 teams that you can select, 10 to 12 teams.
Yep.
So you can take the field or Mr. Other, because remember, Other is like a very popular pick. So you can cover the field with Other. But that means that you're going to be given up on, I'm sure Bora Hansgrohe is going to be very high up in the opening morning bets. But this is where roller derby is crazy and by far the coolest thing on the internet, is that the odds change in real time as you're putting bets in. So if you and I were
dynamic.
So if you put in 100 points or whatever on Team Sky, obviously that's going to boost Team Sky's like odds because you're basically taking points from me. So I talked to Luke. He's going to have some league options that are in there. If you're a wide angle podium member, you can get an additional 500 points. So right there, you're already up another 50% of your point total. So anyway, it's open for anybody. It's rollerderby.com, ROULEUR derby.com. And it is going to be amazing.
It is going to be amazing. And that, you kind of brushed over it, that wide angle podium bonus. That's huge.
Oh yeah, that's all going in massive. On Team CCC to be the first over the podium.
Yeah, you could just blow that 500 bonus points on one bet if you wanted to. Go crazy. But that's huge.
So,
and that's included with the free sign up. Yeah. Like, so if somebody's already a member to this network and they sign up, they're going to get that 500 bonus.
Now I know this sounds like it's just like one really long infomercial. It's really not, because all of this just has to do with, remember when I was in Scotland a year ago or maybe like 6 months ago, and there was the World Championships, and I was like, I put 5 hard-earned British pounds on Alejandro Valverde to win in a real life book.
Yep.
I was disappointed that when I went there, the only proposition was like, who's going to win the World Championships? There wasn't like other things like what country is going to come away with the most medals or any of that. It was, that was it. And I won because I'm really good at this game. That's why I'm really excited about it. But now I get to do it from the comfort of my own home without real money. So therefore, it's way better for my finances and way more fun.
Arguably more prestigious too, because the bragging rights at the end of the day are worth a lot more than the 25 pounds you would have won from Unibet or wherever you went.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm super stoked at this. This is breaking news. I know we said that we weren't going to come in. We have we do have a Slow Ride Reviews that's going to be posting, but I thought this was worthy to call you at 8 a.m. And I know you wanted to see my smiling face so early to see this.
I love it. I can't get enough of it, Tim. No, this is worth it. This is worth interrupting my my cup of full schleck, and I appreciate the news. Roller Derby coming back. Massive news. Look for it on your Internet Explorer software, I guess. Type that in your web search bar.
Just go to your Netscape, open it up, and just go to rollerderby.com, and it's all right there. All the rules, because we don't explain rules very well, but
pretty bad.
ROULEUR derby.com. But here's the kicker, is that it's way better when more people are playing, because I need to have more people playing, so when I take all their points, I have a lot more money. It's so good. And the web build out is amazing that Luke put together. So, I think the coolest thing is the interactive part of it that we're going to have, not only with the betting back and forth, but you're going to get added to the Roller Derby Slack channel, where you're going to be able to interact and trash talk with all your competitors, and even suggest propositions for the future. Like if you've got a good idea of what kind of bet you could do. I've got plenty.
Yeah.
So
this is huge.
It's pretty good.
I'm glad you alerted me to this.
Yeah. So the Slack will be cool, but the kicker is now when you're on your group ride with your buddy, is wisdom of the crowds, basically. So now, when you're on your group rides with your friends and you're talking to the rider next to you, and she's like, "Hey, I think that Team Sky is going to be the first over the Poggio," you can now be like, "Oh yeah? Well, why don't you put your internet cycling points on it?" And then you could get more people. Like, it's great. And there's going to be private leagues.
Eventually.
Can I tell you my favorite part, though?
Yes.
Is that Luke writes a weekly roller derby email.
Okay.
That recaps kind of the different propositions, like the biggest losses. It's so awesome. Oh my God. I'm genuinely excited about this, because
I am too.
I like to take 100% credit when really I should be taking 0 credit, but I've just been annoying Luke to bring this thing back since 2012. And I think he's probably just like, I don't want to deal with Tim ever again. Like, this is
Finally,
I don't want that text message that I've gotten every year for the last 7 years to bring this thing back.
No, that's amazing. And you know what? It sounds like a pretty good opportunity, maybe, Tim, for you and I to get together. I was just inspired by you talking about the trash talking on a group ride. That's kind of what the Slow Ride podcast is. And I'm thinking maybe you and I should get together some night of the week and kind of recap what happened in roller derby world and what the hot wagers are. What do you think about this idea?
Oh, yes.
This could be a spin-off, you know? This is like, what was the show that Joey did after Friends that nobody liked? It's going to be like that.
I don't know. Okay. Yeah. It's going to be just like that.
Just do a roller derby-focused podcast.
No, I'm going to go back to bed.
You can be Joey.
I got to go.
Okay.
But Spencer,
okay.
I may be Joey, sure, but rollerderby.com is going to be the greatest thing of the cycling season. So tell your friends, ROULEUR derby.com. Check it out, because it's going to have to do all with the Slow Ride podcast. Like, this is all going to intertwine when we start talking about this. It's so awesome.
Yeah.
Can't get enough of it. Okay. I'll talk to you.
All right. Sounds good.
Yep. Bye.
Bye, buddy.